Students at the Sefako Makgatho Health Sciences University downed their books and pens and took to the streets. They're protesting against the university's decision to not extend the contract with 3 outside residences. Students say the university failed to consult with them before announcing that they have to vacate their residences by January next year. Teacher and education activist Hendrick Makaneta says the university shouldn't be bullied by students. He joins me now to discuss this and elaborate his point further. Thank you very much, sir, for your time here on ENCA. Now, of course, I believe, I assume that you're saying that the university should not allow itself to be bullied because it's got its own rules that have nothing to do with outside residences.
Yes, definitely. I think that when we look at the current issue of accommodation in various institutions of higher learning, we will recall that there are minimum norms and standards which have been set by the Department of Higher Education and Training for all universities and as well as TVET colleges. And the key question here that is under discussion is that the university has noted that the current residences where students are protesting do not comply with the minimum norms and standards for student accommodation. And one of the key questions that must be answered by society is that what will be the consequences of not complying with these norms and standards? For example, if something was to happen, maybe the building, if the building can collapse and students die as a result, who should take responsibility for such consequences? And I think that the university in this case has taken a good decision by not allowing students to bully them into renewing a contract with buildings that are not in compliance.
So how long has the university known about these accommodations? It's 3 accommodations, right? Outside accommodations. How long have they known that these accommodations don't actually comply with the norms and standards?
Well, universities do, from time to time, every year they have to check, there are panel of experts who go into various residences to go and check. And if you look at the university has known, I think this year, if I'm not mistaken, but, I stand to be corrected. Obviously, if you look at the issue of the at stake, the fact that the contract is coming to an end, by the end of this year, 2021. So in any case, universities have to check the standards before they can renew any contract with service providers. And in this case, the university has taken a decision to protect the students.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I'm a bit confused. Are they not supposed to check the norms and standards before giving the contract? When did they suddenly realize that these accommodations...
I think that question can best be answered by the university. But from what we pick up as activists in the terrain of education is that Sefako Makgatho University has established a panel that looks at the compliance of a wide range of institutions, in particular accommodation for students. And they have discovered that the 3 residences that the students want to remain at do not comply with the norms and standards that were set out by the DHET. The question of when did they find out, I think it's neither here nor there. The key question is that action is being taken now to make sure that they do not renew a contract with some of those residences. I think there are 3 of them. And we know them as well as activists in the terrain. We can't dwell much into the debate, but we are saying students who want to remain in those facilities should do so at their own risk. They themselves should sign their individual contracts with a management of or agents of those residences. The university should not be brought into the picture. As I've already said, we don't want any fatalities should something wrong happen in those accommodations.
And Mr. Makaneta, just very quickly, this also speaks to, the problem when it comes to accommodation for students at universities, because the universities themselves don't have enough space in their residences to, accommodate students. But also, it's also important for the university to, for instance, check these accommodations that they get into contracts with before only realizing, for instance, when the contract is up for renewal.
Definitely. I think that the issue of accommodation is quite a big one, which affects not only SMU, but also other universities such as VETS, University of Pretoria, and so on. But in this case, I think we must also find a way as society to, or activists rather, to ensure that students do not have to travel for long distances. If you look at the residence, for example, Drililis that they are talking about, which is in Pretoria, the distance between that residence as well as the Sefako Makgatho University is more than 40 kilometers. So this actually means students have to travel a distance of more than 40 kilometers to go and attend classes. And one of the requirements as set out by the Department of Higher Education is that at least students should be within a radius of 20 kilometers between the residence as well as the university.
All right, thank you very much.
That is another cause for...
All right, thank you very much for your time. Teacher and education activist Hendrick Makaneta.